What's up, guys? Tony here. So in this video, I want to share a new idea. We're going to talk about how the expanded Medicare coverage of telehealth services for PTO-TSLP is opening some new opportunities, especially for therapists who don't want to contract with Medicare, but want to help the Medicare beneficiary population. So right now, through as of today, which is June 23rd, through July 24th, Medicare has expanded coverage of telehealth services. So how can that help non-contracted providers offer services to Medicare beneficiaries? I'm not going to get into the guidelines here today because I've got lots of other videos covering it where I discuss, the difference between coverage, the mandatory claim submission law, and why physician, therapist, occupational therapist, speech therapist cannot opt out of Medicare. What we're going to do today is we're going to spend this time talking specifically about how a non-contracted cash-based therapist can connect with a contracted therapist and maintain compliance while providing the beneficiary with the optimal outcome and service they want. So let's talk about the scenario in a little more detail. What would something like this look like? I've got an associate who is not contracted with Medicare. He solely provides cash-based services to non-Medicare beneficiaries. He tends to focus on golf performance because that's what he loves. That's what he's passionate about. And so we were talking the other night, and I was saying how I was looking to work with a therapist who wants to join me and kind of help do some telehealth services that maybe I'm not available to do right now. And it just got kind of the train of thought going that, well, what if this individual who's currently not contracted with Medicare and has no plans to contract, does not want to go through Medicare guidelines, Medicare reimbursement, none of it. What if he had a referral for a Medicare beneficiary? What could he do? Well, he could essentially connect with me. I'm here in my clinic right now. I'm in the back room. What would happen is he would be with the Medicare beneficiary in person in the Medicare beneficiary's home. He would reach out to me for a telehealth covered evaluation under Medicare. Now, this is really only available right now through the expanded guidelines and potentially if they extend those expanded guidelines. But so what he would do is he'd get on the phone. He'd be like, "Hey, Tony, I've got, John here with me. John is a Medicare beneficiary. John has a referral for physical therapy due to low back pain. I've been talking to John for a couple minutes, and I think that he would really benefit from me, doing a Medicare covered telehealth physical therapy evaluation, developing a plan of care." During the conversation, we determined that, you know what, that sounds great. We admit the patient. I perform a telehealth evaluation. I determined through my assessment that this particular individual, while yes, he may have an acute episode of low back pain, continued follow-up care is really not medically necessary, or if it is, it's definitely not necessary on a 2 to 3 time a week basis. Perhaps for this particular patient who is dressing themselves, bathing themselves, feeding themselves, driving themselves to the golf course, hitting a bucket of balls 3-4 times a week, playing par 3, courses. This individual is dealing with some pain, but they're generally independent and fully functional. So I perform the telehealth physical therapy evaluation. I make some recommendations on how perhaps we can provide, a couple, 2-3 home exercises that they need to do to resolve some deficiencies. And I determine that it's completely safe for this individual to work with my associate, who is a licensed physical therapist, not contracted with Medicare. And since my associate has provided non-covered services, the patient, the client, is legally allowed to hire my associate to provide services specific to return to golf performance, golf enhancement, any of that kind of stuff, right? But we get the best of both worlds here. Now, the patient gets access to me, a contracted provider with Medicare, to perform a covered service in the form of the initial evaluation, the plan of care, and the goals. I issue a couple, exercises for a home program. And then my comprehensive program includes continued care with my associate who's not contracted with Medicare for the non-covered services. Now, if this particular patient was a little more involved, perhaps instead I would say, okay, Mr. Patient, what I need to do is let's meet once a month. I'll update your home exercise program. These are covered visits, but between those sessions, 2 or 3 times a week, you're going to work with my associate on a self-pay basis to provide the non-covered services. There are so many opportunities and different directions we can go with something like this. We just have to first understand the Medicare guidelines, the rules, the compliance issues, and then second, create a solution that matches what the client, the beneficiary, wants. If this individual doesn't want to hire my associate, they're not required to, but at least my associate connected with that Medicare beneficiary with me to provide a detailed evaluation and provide the covered services, as opposed to my associate just completely not seeing that Medicare beneficiary. Okay, guys, let me know what you think. There's a lot more nuances to a situation like this that we can get into, but I've got patients waiting out in the gym, so I'll catch you on the next video.